Good morning. This is a regular meeting of the Cameron County Commissioners Court, 19th day of January 2012. It is now 10:30 a.m. As we do all meetings, we will start with a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. flag and the Texas flag. I'd like to ask Commissioner Gatsa to lead us in those two pledges at the appropriate time. Please rise. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, sir. Public comment? Item 2, presentation by the Civil Sesquicentennial Committee.
Judge, Commissioners, thank you for allowing me the time to present to you, and as well as the rest of the county, the Cameron County Historical Commission's past year, as well as the Civil War Sesquicentennial Committee. Of course, as we all know, the CCHC, or Cameron County Historical Commission, is here to preserve the historical importance of Cameron County for present and future generations under the direction of the THC, the Texas Historical Commission, as well as you, the Commissioners Court. What I'd like to do is show you some numbers that I've put together for 2010 and 2011. At 2010, we presently had 18 members currently approved by the Commissioners Court and the Texas Historical Commission. That number did go down this last year to 17. However, through reworking our charter, we've included pro tem members. Now, pro tem members do not have to necessarily follow the same guidelines as members of CCHC. However, they can still maintain their active and abilities without the right of voting or direction of the CCHC. These are our 4 meetings that we had this past year. As you can see, we've increased attendance pretty much every single month as we continue to go through the year of last. Unfortunately, I do not have the 2010 records available and wasn't able to make a comparison. Our projected membership for the year 2013 will be 6 new additions. Those are based upon January's figures, not going to the end of December. We could rise up to as many as 36 members, which would be an all-time high for the Cameron County Historical Commission. What our past events that we have done for the county is that was at the Texas Historical Commission's annual conference, where Cameron County was recognized in its efforts for the Civil War Sesquicentennial. We were also requested to speak at the First Lady Award at Palmetto Hill Battlefield, where we were able to give our side of what Cameron County does for the sesquicentennial. Today also we're going to be looking at a special look inside the Civil War Sesquicentennial Committee and what we're planning to do for this year, as well as our past, as well as last year's events. As you can see, this is the first new official logo that we have introduced at the beginning of last year. It was created by a San Benito resident, Mr. Jaime Vega. What we're planning to do with the sesquicentennial is to bring, of course, the one thing that we all are looking at, and that is for good relations throughout the state, as well as with our fellow citizens from Mexico. The mission of the committee is very simple. We're promoting and educating through programs, educational events, reenactments, lectures, and other events of the importance of Cameron County and the American Civil War. We're looking at this following our mandate by the THC, utilizing the charter that we were established here within Cameron County. Our biggest importance is to assist the younger generation in understanding the importance for future preservation. As you can see, I do have a chart here that's representing the 2011 and the starting of the events for the committee, which we had 2. We're expanding that out up to 4 for a growth of 100%. Our actions, as you can see, is our commencement event that we held in Brownsville on March the 20th of last year. Again, here, this photo represents Mr. Vega getting the award for the Outstanding History Patron for creating the committee logo. The story behind that is that we did have a award going out, a contest, if you will. We did have several members from TSTC get involved as well. However, Mr. Vega's logo was voted upon by the commission, and we proceeded on with that. Here is our co-chair for the Sesquicentennial Committee, Mrs. Betty Gado, as she is presenting the moderator for the Spring Symposium, Understanding the War. And through our partnerships that we have done over this last year, namely with UT Brownsville, we were asked to be a guest speaker for the first annual History Honor Society for Phi Alpha Theta chapter of University of Texas at Brownsville. We've started out this year with doing lectures. We had a lecture earlier this month in Harlingen CISD at Dr. Rodriguez's elementary. We'll continue on with lectures to the elementary and other school grades where permitted. We do have a history symposium that we are scheduling and a research symposium, again directing our efforts to the younger generation, and also pulling in more partnerships through the local entities that we've made, thus creating a bigger and generating more excitement, if you will, for the younger generation on history. We also will have the bigger aspect of this one is the research symposium. Here we're actually having our pro tem members from the University of Texas at Brownsville assist us, and they're going to be teaching the younger generation on how to do proper research and through their efforts that they've learned through their academic studies. We've also incorporated mass media as well. We've had an increase literally within 1 year of over 100% from our previous year, but utilizing both the internet as well as other media such as YouTube and Facebook. We are getting strong indications that we are being observed by other counties as well as other states. Again, our next symposium is set for March 10th of this year at San Benito. We do have guest speakers already lined up. One gentleman coming from Louisiana who will be bringing in his thoughts upon the war and the importance of Cameron County. Again, I just want to stress out to basically our main aspect of what the commission is going to be doing, or the committee is going to be doing, as well as the commission. And we're remembering the men and women of both Anglo and Tejano, especially the Tejano aspect of it. It's my understanding, it's my belief that the Tejano has not been recognized more and has not been given their due importance, especially within Texas and within the United States. That being said, we will be focusing more upon that. That will conclude my presentation. If you have any questions for me, I'll be more than happy to try to answer.
I do. I noticed that you're trying to promote it and you're focusing on the educational aspect, especially with the school districts and for the younger children. My question to you, you also say there that you will address local groups. Do you do this in Spanish? Because, you know, I realize you do it in English, but would you be available to make a presentation in Spanish?
Yes, ma'am, and as long as I could set up my Rosetta Stone to help me out, I could go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, we do have better speakers in Spanish than I, so we can actually provide a bilingual program as well.
Okay. Thank you. Then I'll reach you later.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. William, thank you very much. Appreciate all that you do for us. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge?
So moved.
By Commissioner Benavides, second by Commissioner Gatsa. Discussion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Consent items.
Judge, can you take out D for discussion, please?
D is in dog.
Yes.
Judge,
Yes.
take out item A for discussion.
Okay.
Table item C. Table double I. And table double J.
Take out double I for discussion.
No, table.
Table.
And table double J.
Okay.
I have just one question on double O, Judge.
Is that on the date?
No,
On the, okay. We'll pull that one for discussion.
just a question. That's all I have.
Anything else?
Triple G, pull it out.
Triple G?
Which one?
P double C?
Anything else? Do I hear a motion to approve all items on the consent with the exception of item A to be discussed separately, C table, D to discuss separately, P to discuss separately, double C, double H to discuss separately, double I to table, double J to table, double O to discuss separately, and triple G to discuss separately.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hernandez, second by Commissioner Gatsa. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries. A, consideration approval of agreement between Cameron County and K Plus Architects.
Judge and Commissioners, there's two issues, and this is a standard agreement that the legal department developed a couple of years ago and that we've used the last couple of years. So it's our agreement, but there's two issues. One is the court passed an order sometime back that the individuals would have to sign the agreement before the court could consider it, and we didn't. The architect is out of town and was not able to sign the agreement. And then in the very last page of the agreement, under additional services, and I mean, very rarely do we request additional services, but if we were to, we have a rate of $100 per hour for the architect. In this case, the architect was proposing a rate of $135. Again, this is a standard contract. The last meeting we had, the contract that we approved with Gomez Mendez was exactly like this one at $100. So one, I'm not sure if the court wants to act on it because the owner didn't sign it. Number two, we probably need to reject the counter of 135 and leave it at 100.
Or just approve it at 100?
Yes.
Well, but I think the issue is the reason that we started approving these after they were signed, because a lot of them were getting by without signatures. So, you want to approve it subject to the signatures and legal and the $100?
Well, and I have another comment.
Okay?
In the scope of services, I think that we passed a policy some years back in regards to green buildings, to trying to be more energy efficient. And I think that we need to include that somewhere in the contract. I think that we should include at least options in the bid development phase to include like solar lighting in the parking lot, solar lighting on the outside of the buildings built into the project. Instead of, going out for grants and looking for those things and making retrofits later. I think we need to look at including as part of what we're building, those initiatives. I know that a lot of the federal buildings and state buildings include in the specs. And we've made an effort in the past, and we had not built anything since that effort was started, but I think it's time that we include it into the contract.
Good idea. Do you want to do that? You want to make that as part of the
I mean,
contract as
I don't
well?
know if it needs to be, like,
Yeah, what we can do is, I guess for the future, we can come back and get with legal and amend the general contract that we have with architects to include that. But
Wouldn't we
and
need to put it in the
address-
RFP, though?
To address what the commissioner is talking about,
Green?
remember that the architect is gonna meet with the end users, and while we're doing that, we can incorporate that, into the scope. Then the scope is gonna come back to the court, once we have a floor layout, we're gonna bring that back to the court, and we can discuss that and incorporate that at that time.
Well, that should be really for all construction contracts. and
Yes,
projects.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. In the
Okay.
meantime, we can get with legal and.
Okay, what do you want to do about
include
the
language.
signature?
Will you have an order in place that any contract that hasn't been signed by the vendor first gets tabled?
Okay, well, if that's it,
we table it.
let's table it.
Table it for the
and
next
have them
meeting.
sign it back, and then at the same time, you can negotiate that 135 to 100. All right?
Well,
And-
can that order be,
It's up to
It's up to the
Commissioner's
court,
Court,
right?
yes.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I don't want to delay something 2 weeks if, it's not going to be a legal issue for us if we go ahead and approve it, subject to you all getting it taken care of and signed.
But
It's
is,
it's an order in place. If the court wants to disregard that order, I mean, that's up to the court. But you do have an order in place that states also how you go about if you aren't able to get the signature prior to, you ask for an exemption. And it's another agenda item, but at the same time, it can be done.
Whatever the court's wishes are.
I would recommend, in the interest of time, let's approve it, subject to it getting
That's what I would
signed.
say, man, we need to.
Okay, well, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
By Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Benavides. Any further discussion?
Subject to legal making sure that everything is signed.
Correct. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, carries. Item C was tabled. Item D, consideration approval of agreement with Superior Alarms for monitoring the fire alarm system at the Santa Rosa Tech Center.
Judge and Commissioners, Hondo brought this to me. This is for the Santa Rosa Technology Center and for Superior Alarms to monitor our fire alarms. Their standard agreement has some indemnity language in there. I've scratched it out. I think they are not agreeing to take it out, but according to Hondo, we really need this, and so I'm just.
are they the only company?
We're looking at, yes, they provided the alarm there in Santa Rosa and stuff like that. This is a 6-month contract with them right now. I would like to get them on board for the monitoring, to satisfy the fire marshal and that official over there in Santa Rosa. And I would say during this 6-month period, we can take a look, or we can sit down and talk with Superior, discuss future terms. But as of right now, I'd recommend approval so we can get this monitoring started. And
There's no one else that can monitor?
there is, but I didn't go out and solicit bids for monitoring the building at this point because Superior has just finished up the work there, and it's only a 6-month agreement.
Can we enter that type of agreement with them if we didn't go out for bids?
It's only
For that
$150, yes.
Oh, okay.
What do you need, Hondo, from us?
I want approval of the Superior Alarms
Okay.
contract for 6 months. and
What was
then-
the issue?
Just
The
that there's
indemnity clause.
indemnification language on the standard terms, and we can't, we don't agree to that because by law, we don't indemnify anybody.
Okay, well, are they willing to do what we need to do?
I have I have it scratched out.
Okay.
You know, I know that this issue probably has come before because we do have Superior Alarms monitoring our other
Let's,
buildings, so.
let's approve it based on our terms, and then send it back to them. If it's only for 6 months, they should not have a problem with this. Okay?
Agree?
Do I hear a motion? So moved. By Commissioner Hernandez, do I have a second by Commissioner Gatsa? Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item P, consideration and authorization to implement Cameron County Title VI Civil Rights Act program policies and procedures.
I pulled that one. I just wanted to know, have we designated the person and done everything? Everything's in place, David?
Well, that's part of the backup that we started to put together. For now, that person would be myself.
Okay.
Whenever a local government agency like Cameron County gets federal funds, transportation related, we have to have now this policy in place. And there's several requirements that are in the backup that are needed. One of them is a signed assurance letter from the county judge. The next one is a signage throughout the county saying that, we comply with different aspects of the Civil Rights Act within the county. And then there's other things that need to be added to contracts and to our procurement procedures. So for now, I would be the person in charge of that, or trying to make sure that everything is followed.
And we've got the web link set up and everything?
We don't have a web link set up. We were asked to put all this together, and so this is going to be a process that we're going to start to put together.
Okay.
The desk review calls.
This gives you the green light.
Right,
Okay.
To move
to
forward.
move forward and to get everything to the Transportation TxDOT Civil Rights Division, so that we have some of the stuff already in place, and then we'll start working with the other items that they require, which is the
Okay.
website.
Well, and I didn't see that was actually in place. That's why I asked. But
No, it's not.
we're working on getting it done.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Move to
By
approve.
Commissioner Sanchez, do I have a second by Commissioner Gatsa? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries. Double C, consideration authorization to execute a grass mowing and maintenance agreement contract. Who pulled this one?
I pulled that one, and I think the question I had on that one, I was looking at is this the one we discussed last time?
Yes.
Okay. The only thing I saw in there in the contract, if you look at number 7, paragraph 7, it says, "The agreement shall be for a period of 3 years, but it terminates it December 30th, 2015, which is 4 years." So I don't know if that was a typo or if we need to correct that. Also, I didn't see an indemnification clause in this contract, which I typically see in the other ones. And I don't know if that was lacking.
Well, let's look at the first one first on the years. That should be 2014.
2014, okay.
Okay, so change that. And on the ID clause, Dilbia?
It's on number 11.
Harmless.
Well, okay, and is that valid enough for, because in other contracts I've seen, the actual indemnification spelled out.
I can change that for you and add that in, but that's
Okay,
the clause.
that was the only thing.
You want to do, okay,
Can we approve it with
approve it subject to the...
Subject to those
Okay.
changes.
Moved by Commissioner Sanchez. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Benavides. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Carries. Double H, consideration authorization to execute contract between Cameron County Parks and Dora Taylor.
And I think on that one, the same thing, I didn't see an indemnification clause.
No, that's on the professional liability. It's number 4.
That satisfies legal?
That's
Okay.
what we.
That'll,
all-
okay.
Okay, do I hear a
Fine.
motion?
So move.
By Commissioner Sanchez, do I have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Benavides. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Double I was tabled. Double J was tabled. Double O, consideration and issuance of order approving the treasurer's financial report.
I had one question.
Oh, hold on, what?
Oh, I'm sorry. Somewhere in there.
That's your item.
Find the darn thing.
As Commissioner Gatz is looking for that, make the change on the cover letter. I checked with legal, and they said just make the change.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you that the cover letter has a 2011.
Yeah, it's a year late.
2012.
Correct. They just make that correction for the record, and then I don't know what Commissioner Gatz has.
My question was on FD number 390. FD stands for deposit? Okay. Local solid waste enforcement. Is that like a proper book balance?
Yeah, that's the, I think that we're getting monies from the RMA into that account for whatever reason.
We got $20 million?
That may have been a.
$20,373,545.47 in the local solid waste enforcement account? We got that much money there? I mean, if that's the case, we need to start picking up trash all over the county. I mean, because we can't buy a ticket to dispose of it right now, you know, we can't get a PO, but
So this is RMA money going in there?
Is that the one where some RMA money comes in, or is that what they're using?
Isn't that the account you use to clear a bunch
Right, but
of?
it's, I don't know that it's necessarily for the RMA. I think it's any reimbursements we get from TxDOT, like for the Veterans Bridge, or West Rail or Olmito. It goes into that account, and then from
And then
there
gets
it's distributed
redistributed.
to the different projects.
so we do have 20 million in that account?
We shouldn't.
It is, I mean, well, it says here that the book balance is 20,373,000, okay?
On the day you ran this report, that's what was in there? That's what you're saying?
That, yeah, December, I'm looking at December of 2011, and then we had cash receipts of 3,136,000, disbursements of 594,000, which gives us on 12/31 of 2011 a bank balance of $22,915,553.83.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that the account is for that, you know,
Yeah,
all the.
well, I saw that large number, but that's what I assumed it was, because in the past I've asked solid waste.
Yeah.
And then it was explained to me that that account's used to
Clear.
receive money and redistribute.
Right.
But normally it's kind of like flat, and all of a
Right.
sudden we're accumulated.
Well, it should zero out because as we get reimbursed from TxDOT,
It gets
should go back
redistributed.
to the projects.
Can you check what that balance is today, David?
Marta, would you know? Off the top of your head?
Just table it till the end of the meeting, so we can make a better report.
No, I have not. Fund 390 is a solid waste, and it is true that is where the CCRMA funds are received and TxDOT funds are received. Normally, it zeroes out. The court, if they so choose, can approve this subject to clarification on that bank balance. I do feel that bank balance is incorrect and it needs to be reviewed. But y'all can approve it subject to clarification on that.
Well, let me ask you, the cover letter says that that report was provided to your office on January of 2012?
Yes, that is correct.
Did you have a chance to look at it?
It was provided on January 20th, 2012.
That's
sir.
that's what I
Okay,
said, January 2012. And did you get a chance to look at it?
I did not review the ending balance. What I did review was the cash receipts collected and the disbursements, and that is correct. Now, the ending balance, I cannot attest to that because I did not have time to review those balances.
And, you know, and my issue is, I mean, do we owe somebody a lot of money?
All that money that comes in through that account gets redistributed to some of our other accounts.
Right.
Correct. It's just like a clearing account.
And anytime y'all have a question on that, like I think the judge told Commissioner Sanchez the last time, you can contact my office or contact the department or the elected official, That way we don't, you can save a little bit of time up here. I mean, I'll be glad to
Well,
discuss that with you all.
I just looked at it this morning, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you check to see what the balance is? Because I'm sure right now the balance wouldn't be the same, right?
Well, it keeps changing.
Because this was a snapshot of what it was on the 31st of December.
Right,
Today, we might have gotten more in, we might have moved money out of there.
right.
I hope we have that money there, I mean, I'm not.
Good, I
you
do
know,
too.
But,
Any idea what it was November 30th? Or October? I mean,
well, it was 20,373,000,
okay,
because that was the beginning balance of.
so that's a rolling 20 million, okay. Well, why don't we approve it and just look at it and see if maybe it's a miscoding somewhere?
It might be, but I will look at it. I know as of today, we have 193,000 in that account.
So it's
See,
been
so
moved out.
something,
It's cleared.
something cleared out $20 million
20
worth.
millions
It-
worth.
And maybe because it was the end of the year, everybody's paying off whatever they owe.
Okay,
Move to
Hopefully.
approve.
Second.
hopefully it
Can
went
we
to
approve it
precinct
if we
2.
know it's incorrect?
Well, we don't know
No,
if
no.
it's incorrect.
No, on that day, that's what it was.
I don't
According-
think so.
Well, he can go pull the bank statement.
Why don't we,
Can we wait till the end of the meeting? and
yeah,
maybe
David,
get a clarification?
if y'all can go, let's pass on this, we'll come back at the end of the meeting, so if you can go check the bank statement, the December 31st bank statement, and see if that's what it shows. That's what it is, right, the bank statement balance?
Yeah.
Okay, let's
I
do
mean,
that.
That's what it should be, anyway.
Okay, let's pass on that. Let's go on to item triple G. Park staff, Javier, to travel somewhere, Corpus?
Y'all going on a boat?
Sir. The reason that I pulled this, Judge, Commissioners, when we submitted the agenda item, it only had my name on there, but I want to invite Bruce Hodge, and he agreed to go with us. And since we're working on our due protection plan, a lot of these issues are brought up as we're amending our plan, so he wanted to attend this.
Okay, you want to add just Bruce to the travel?
Yes, there's one other thing, Judge, is there's two members on our zoning commission, Stanford Knowles and Herb Houston, that want to travel with me. What I was going to do is I was going to take a county vehicle, so I needed to get permission to have non-county employees drive with me to Corpus.
Well, that's a legal issue. Sylvia, what does that do? What does that do for us liability-wise, having non-county employees in a county vehicle? I'm sorry?
I believe you have a policy that you're not supposed to allow
Right, so he's asking for an exemption to that policy for this trip.
There's the two members,
I'd
sir.
have to ask Tom to see how if our insurance would cover anybody that doesn't work.
Either that or take your own vehicle and then get mileage.
Yeah, that's the other option. But we asked Tom, and Tom asked us to ask legal, then Joe recommended that we put it on the agenda. So, but I mean, the easiest thing, if I take my vehicle, that's fine.
Why don't we just do that?
Okay.
Okay, let's do that.
Can-
So
can we
we'll
just-
add Bruce Hodge to that, and then take your vehicle and get reimbursed the
And
mileage.
then I think Bruce is going to go, I don't know if he's here, but he was going to go on his own because we had conflict of schedule.
Okay.
He was going to
All right,
go later.
we'll do that.
Whatever.
Do I hear a motion to approve
So moved.
based on the changes
Second.
by Commissioner Benavides and by Commissioner Gatsa? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries. Budget amendments.
Judge, Commissioners, you have the budget amendments placed in front of you. The first page is one for Road and Bridge. It's to set up a budget for contractual of $215,000. It's an increase of $215,000 for Road and Bridge. And the funds that will be used will be the disaster recovery funds that are being generated by Road and Bridge in salaries and equipment. And so that will be an increase of $215,000. The child support is adding $2,100 to their fuel budget to cover their expenses. The next pages that you have are regular line item transfers. You have one for the infirmary, for juvenile probation, South Texas HIDA, and the DA drug forfeiture, and Constable Precinct 7 drug forfeiture funds. There was one that I believe was placed in front of you. I don't know if the change was made. It's a one page, and it says Sheriff's Drug Forfeiture Fund at the top. And
The last page.
Yeah, the last page. It may say Department 900-5570. It should be 900-5600 for the Sheriff's Department. And they're setting up, they're using fund balance to set up a budget for increased budget in data processing, equipment maintenance, and miscellaneous line item. There's also one for general fund for the Sheriff's Department in Department 5600, and for the jail division in Department 5120.
Where did the 5.9 million go?
That is going to be in the drug forfeiture fund. It'll be in Fund 900.
Can they use that money to buy this stuff?
They're using fund balance here, 37,000 of existing fund balance.
Of Fund 90 money.
Of
So
Fund
it's-
90.
So it's the
Yes.
same thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Did the sheriff go by and speak to you about where to invest part of this money in terms of trying to maximize earnings?
No, he did not. Javier mentioned to me the meeting that was held in your office, and I have not spoken to the sheriff
Okay. All right.
for your approval.
Anticipate that he will.
Move to approve.
Anything else, Martha?
That's it, thank you.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Benavides, second by Commissioner Sanchez. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Claims?
Claims, I have warrants number 272344 through 272487, 272489 through 273011, 273016 through 273158, 273160 through 273163. I have ACH medical claims for $210,051.73. Payroll dated January 20th for $1,632,827.70. An additional payroll run that you should have had placed in front of you for $229.75. I also have warrants number that were voided, which is warrants number 272497, warrant number 272628, warrant number 269-335, and warrant number 272920. There is also the contract payments are run in this in the check registers you have. They are warrants number 272489 through 272507. I've already read these in. This is just to reiterate that these are the warrants. I mean the contracts. And an additional contract run for warrants number 272882 to 272902. Today is the 19th, and I'm not sure if the court wants to release the contract payments today because they are payments for the month of January that become due at the end of January. If the court wants to approve them, for the treasurer to release them next week on Wednesday or on Thursday. Some of these contract payments need to get mailed, so I know the vendors would appreciate having them at least by the end of the month. So if the court wants to release those for approval for next week on Wednesday or Thursday, that's up to the court.
And are these people that have continued relationship and providing service for the county?
Yes.
I would say we just send them.
Do we hear a motion to approve claims as presented and authorize the treasurer to release the payments that are due for the month of January next week?
Will that be next week on Wednesday or Thursday?
Whatever, it doesn't matter, whatever you want to do it.
So moved.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Moved by Commissioner Hernandez, do I have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Gatz, any further discussion?
One abstention, Judge, on warrant number 272682.
Thank you, please note my abstentions on the affidavits that I've provided.
I do have a couple questions, Martha.
Sure.
One, I see a couple of payments to Brooks County and to East Hidalgo Detention Center.
Yes.
We don't have any more prisoners out, do we?
No, we do not.
This
Those
is just for the-
Those are November billings.
Okay. The other thing is, I saw a claim in here for Rollins, York and Associates. What is that?
That is a treatment facility that houses juveniles that are
Oh,
sent
okay.
for housing.
Okay. And then I have some other questions, but I'll talk to you about that later. Just
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item C, minutes of January the 5th, 2012 regular meeting. Those ready to be approved?
I'd like to add something to the consent item, I think it was N, and that would be, instead of like, we voted and approved it, have After Tommy Ramirez presented his justification, it was voted and approved, and I move to approve the minutes with that correction.
Moved by Commissioner Garza.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hernandez. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item D, consideration of appointment of a member to the Cameron Appraisal District.
Motion to reappoint Judge Cascos to that board,
Okay,
if he wants to serve.
moved by Commissioner Hernandez to appoint me. Does anybody else would like to serve on that board? That's the Cameron, I've been on it for a few years. I don't have a problem serving. If somebody else wants to do it, y'all can do it. No problem with me.
I've done that 4 years or
Okay.
8 years already, so, I think I've had my share.
I did it about 4 years in the city so far.
All right, so moved by Commissioner Hernandez to reappoint. Do I have a
Second.
second by Commissioner Sanchez? Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Item carries. Item E, discussion possible action regarding creating a committee for the development of State Highway 550.
Judge and Commissioners, back in November when the RMA came before Commissioners Court requesting the agreement on the TRZ for our Transportation Reinvestment Zone, there was a discussion at the court level specifically on the corridor along State Highway 550 from Expressway 77 to Highway 48 or the Port of Brownsville, primarily because most of that property, specifically the property along the 3.5 mile spur that's under construction today, is wide open for development. And the court wanted to ensure that we had first-class development all along that corridor so that we could ensure that we would maximize the use of that corridor. Because the court passed the agreement, it's going to be a lot more beneficial for all the different governmental entities that are involved if we attract first-class developments. So we talked about creating a committee, and I guess the idea today is to get input from the court, what entities we want represented in the committee so that we can go back to those entities and have those entities appoint their representative to that committee. I guess.
Now, this committee would just be an advisory committee.
Yes.
And I think it's a great idea, Pete. I think we need to just think
It was
about
Commissioner Sanchez's idea.
even a greater idea. I think we need to look at who the parties are, and I would think City of Brownsville, Port of Brownsville,
BDC.
Chamber of Commerce,
Yeah.
BDC.
PUB.
Yeah, and I would even bring in. I mean, I would invite even the city of Port Isabel, maybe Los Fresnos. Anybody that's going to have an impact along that route, San Benito as well, because they got to get to that road.
Yeah, but you don't want to make it too big.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think you have to look at.
It's just advisory.
Yeah, exactly, but.
One of the plans I have, Judge, also is to create, and I talked to Bruce, and I need to visit with him on this, to see if we could appoint or create an actual committee that we would be able to do an economic development for the entire county. And we talked about it before a little bit, but, right now, each city has their own, but with all the infrastructure the RMA is bringing in, and, this is key right here, if we don't have a plan in place, getting all the parties to the table, then we don't work collectively, I don't think our economic development will be as good as it can be. So,
Well, that's what-
besides just this strip,
Exactly.
the idea is we're going to create something, and I'm just waiting to hear from Bruce legally how we can do that. It may end up being an advisory thing, but if not, we'd like to put something formal in place so that we have members from everybody.
I think, that's why I mentioned bringing in San Benito and Port Isabel and maybe Harlingen and whomever.
But I think that we need to not lose focus of one thing. I think we've had some discussions along those routes, and that's a great idea. I think that in this particular piece here, what we're looking at is just this piece. And instead of doing what Dan is talking about at this time, is to do an advisory committee for this piece first with the different entities involved, because this is what's moving on very quickly, that's impacting things. I think that it would be a good stepping stone to move into the next one. But right now, what needs to happen as a result of the next 2 years of work being done on this corridor.
Why wouldn't we want to do it like we did with the I-69 segment, where we had different segments, and maybe we do this like a segment, and then as we do continue the I-69, do another segment? Yeah, I think what you're saying is here strictly.
Because we're talking, when we were discussing economic development and what's coming on, we were looking at the RAC as an example, as to the transformation that type of activity has on a community and the impact that it has countywide. And I think that's what we were looking at as one of the major economic developers. I mean, and all you have to do is go back 20 years at the medical school in San Antonio and see that part of San Antonio and what happened in the last 20 years in that area. I mean,
Let's come up with a,
Well, what we probably can do, if thinking along those lines, the TRZ is composed of 5 or 6 different projects. Maybe have a different committee for every project. In Brownsville, perhaps, the same committee for 550 can be the committee for the East Loop, because really the East Loop and 550 is going to be one continuous loop from the Veterans Bridge through the port back onto 77. But you could look at developing or creating committees for every one of the projects in the TRZ.
Let me give a little history on what was always known as Highway 511. There is and has always been, for at least the last 5 years, a Northeast Brownsville Steering Committee. Every piece of property between Expressway 77 all the way to the port already has a designated zoning. And it was based on how do you buffer the neighborhoods from the light industrial to the heavy industrial. Same thing that all cities do. So we may be kind of reinventing the wheel here, and maybe we need to get involved with that steering committee the city had, because it works. It's been working for years. The only place we did not have any zoning in place was the actual navigation property, which is across 511, because we have the city of Brownsville had no jurisdiction or annexation process in that area. So a lot of this has already been done by that committee. I think we need to get back with them, and if you want to basically renew or kind of re-up what's been done before.
Who was on that committee? Do you remember?
I can find out.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I mean, if work is already done that can be used, that'd be great.
That's why I'm saying that we may be able to bring a bunch of paperwork and stuff to the table to basically do what you're talking about, Dan. It's already been done, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of it's been done. Now, of course, it may have changed because maybe the road alignments have changed, and some of that's changed, like the 803 area. I know that's changed a bunch.
Well, but what I'm talking about is globally throughout the county and even beyond. Kind of like the RMA, even though it's the CCRMA, they do projects that are going to draw all the way through, they're doing stuff all the way up to Robstown.
I have no problem with that.
But I think what Commissioner Garza is saying is for this strip, because it's right now in the building phase, we need to get on this. But overall, for the entire county and even beyond, if we don't have a plan, it's kind of like we're building all this infrastructure, but if we don't plan correctly and attract the right development, then, we're not getting the most efficiency out of our buck.
That's what the Northeast Brownsville Steering Committee was supposed to be doing. That's why I'm going to have, I'll find out, Commissioner Garza.
Let's find out, and
and
I think at a minimum, the players should be the chamber, the BEDC, the city of Brownsville, the port, Cameron County, obviously, and I guess PUB as well. And you may even want to consider, no, that's about it, unless you can think of another group. And have
maybe the college or the university, in terms of as time goes on and expansion,
Yeah, for
we may
that
end up getting a
stretch.
campus out here.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get them in there, but at a minimum, the ones that I mentioned, those are must-to-bes, and maybe, give this some thought over the next couple of weeks. That gives Commissioner Hernandez time to find out who was on that committee, and maybe bring it back again. And if you can think of anybody else that you think may want to do that, all we can do is extend the olive branch to everybody, see if they want to participate, and then hope that they do.
And if there's anyone else you think that we need to
Exactly.
to add.
The only other one that I would probably consider would be Matamoros, the city of Matamoros, their planning department.
Definitely.
Dual projects.
Okay. So on this one, do you want to
I guess what we probably can do is get with legal and draft an order to create a committee.
Okay,
and
why don't we
then
do
bring
that?
it
Do I
back
hear
to
a
the
motion
board.
for that?
Okay.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Commissioner Benavides, second by Commissioner Gatsa. Discussion?
I do want to say one thing. I think that what we talked about in the more global sense, that we need to put on the agenda at a later date, maybe 2 weeks or
2 weeks from now will be good.
now. And we need to start looking, and all you have to do is look at other places in which things have occurred in the course of the last 20, 30 years and the development that has occurred. And you can look at places like Austin, Texas, becoming a quasi Silicon Valley of Texas because the university's there. That has brought in a whole lot. I mean, look at everybody that is there now working in the Austin area. It wasn't by chance that all that occurred. There was a committee there, it was a Greater Austin Committee, Economic Development Committee that brought in all the places from that area. They together have been working over the course of years to do what we have an opportunity to do in this county. I think we need to do that.
Well,
Besides this.
Yeah, but
this needs
what
to happen.
Austin did, though, they worked with their neighboring communities.
Right.
Like Round Rock is really where it's all at, but they worked with their that's what I think what y'all are also recommending as well, that we continue to work, throughout the
It
county,
doesn't matter
so.
where.
That's right, doesn't matter where, as long as,
Facility happens, as long as it happens in this part of the world.
That's correct.
and it impacts all of us.
correct. Okay,
See, the problem we have, Judge, is since we're limited in how we can zone, we need to have those other cities, those other players involved.
Participate.
Because they can make those zoning changes that affect
Right.
how this county goes forward, so.
right, okay.
It has to be
So
a
then
joint
the
effort.
motion is to authorize legal to begin drafting an agreement for the creation of the committee, as we've talked about, and then we can add,
SH 5.
for SH 550, and we can add participants, but for now, start reaching out to the ones that we've talked about already, okay? Do I hear a motion I already had a motion by Commissioner Benavides and by Commissioner Gatsa. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries. F, is that the one to table? F and G. Do I hear a motion to table items F and G? Moved by Commissioner Hernandez, second by Commissioner Sanchez. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Item H, consideration, possible approval of agreement for property and casualty insurance consulting services.
Judge, we put this back on the agenda. We had talked to RWL. They already had in place an errors and omissions insurance of $1 million.
Okay.
So we included that.
All right, that's the only change?
That's the change, yes.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
By Commissioner Benavides, do I have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Hernandez, any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed, item carries. Item I, discussion and possible action on a 4-year capital improvement plan for the park system.
Judge,
Yes.
I'm going to have a suggestion on this, and I haven't had an opportunity to talk to Javier, because we were in meetings earlier this morning with other things, but I'm going to ask to see if we can't table this. And I don't know if this court wishes to do a workshop as a whole or wishes to appoint a couple of commissioners to work with Javier. And I would volunteer to help, and I would hope that Sophie would too, and I mean, unless Ernie wants to do it or Dan wants to do it. But I think that we need to look at the master plan we have in place now that is about 6 years old, and look at what you're presenting and kind of see if we can come up with something to present to the commission, unless the commission wants to do it like a 2 or 3 hour workshop.
No, why don't we do that? That's fine. I've got no problem with you.
Commissioner Benavides, I don't know if you want to.
Do you want to do that?
No, I'd be willing to let 2 of y'all if you want, or if you want all else to do it, I'll participate, whatever.
Well, we can't have more than 3.
No, we do a workshop.
Well, I think we do that as well, but I think in
Yeah,
order
but
to get
have
that
something
info
brought
to the
to you.
workshop, okay?
Let them work first on that's fine.
Let me have a motion to table this item, and also included that motion to ask, because they volunteered, Commissioner Gatsa, Commissioner Benavides, to sit with Javier and develop, update the master parks plan that we
Not update the
have.
plan, but look at the plan and
Well,
compare it to.
Update it, but yeah, and if it warrants updating, to do it.
So
Okay.
moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hernandez. Do I have a
Second.
second by Commissioner Sanchez? Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, item carries. J, FEMA. And some news?
Yes, sir, Judge. Over the last, I guess, 6 months or so, we've been working with FEMA and TDEM, Texas Division of Emergency Management, to put together all the information that they've been requesting on our pending public worksheets. And a week and a half ago, Pete received 3 public worksheets, excuse me, that have been forwarded to FEMA for hopeful approval pretty soon. So, and those are public worksheets 1077, 1080, and 1204, which represents about $1.484 million.
And this go back, for those that don't remember, this goes back to Dolly,
Yes, sir.
Hurricane Dolly. Okay.
We're still
So
waiting.
I did contact EM yesterday and asked them, how soon FEMA would approve these, and they couldn't give me a real clear indication, but I'm going to reach out to FEMA, whoever's reviewing these, to get an indication.
Thank you, David.
After that, we have pending four additional public worksheets.
Which total how much?
Roughly 2, 3, a little bit over $3 million.
And
All right.
these were sheets that had been submitted previously, and they were being questioned?
Yes. Yeah, the auditors from the Emergency Management Office were questioning and asking for additional information.
Okay.
Just want to thank Tom Gozdowski with the auditor's office. He's been really helpful in getting a lot of the information together.
Thank you, David. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge?
So moved.
By Commissioner Benavides, second by Commissioner Hernandez. Discussion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Item K, appointing someone to the Urban Counties Policy Committee.
Judge, I would like to nominate Commissioner Sanchez to serve on this.
Motion by
this
Commissioner
committee.
Benavides, second by Commissioner Gatsa to appoint Commissioner Sanchez if he's willing to do it. You want to do it?
Sure.
Why not, right? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, carries. Item L, discussion possible action regarding request from the Tropical Texas Behavioral Health regarding approval of a construction project.
Judge and Commissioners, you had a letter in your packet, and they just need the county's approval on the construction project. They will not utilize any Cameron County funds for the project.
Moved by
Second.
Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Sanchez. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. There are no executive session items, even though they are listed. I've been asked for both items to be tabled, so there'll be no discussion, so there is no executive session. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
By Commissioner everybody, second by everybody. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. God save this honorable court.